Let's get straight to it. Property taxes are suddenly at the center of a national debate, and for good reason. The government is considering scrapping both council tax and stamp duty, replacing them with a single new property tax. This isn't just a minor tweak, it's a complete overhaul of how we pay for local services and how property transactions are taxed. If it goes ahead, it would be the biggest shake-up in a generation, affecting every homeowner and buyer in the UK, from first-timers to those who've lived in the same house for decades. So, why now? The government faces a huge financial gap, up to £40 billion, and can't raise income tax, national insurance or VAT without breaking key election promises. With public services under pressure and the cost of living rising, they're searching for new ways to raise money. A property tax is seen as a way to fill that gap without breaking promises. It could provide a more stable and predictable source of revenue, directly linked to the value of homes across the country. Right now, council tax is based on 1991 property values, which creates huge unfairness. Some people in small northern homes pay as much as those living in southern mansions. The system simply hasn't kept up with how property values have changed. Stamp duty, meanwhile, is a tax on moving. It discourages people from downsizing, relocating for work, or finding a home that better suits their needs, trapping families in homes that may no longer fit. The new plan aims to link tax to your home's current value, making the system fairer, more transparent, and more modern, reflecting today's housing market, not the one from over 30 years ago. But as with any big change, there will be winners and losers. Some will pay less, others more. Let's break down what this could mean for you, your family, and your community. Before we dive into the details of the new plan, let's take a closer look at how the current property taxes actually work in the UK. Council tax is a yearly bill that helps fund local services like rubbish collection, street lighting, and libraries. The amount you pay is based on what your home was valued at back in 1991, not its current market value. Because property values have changed so much since then, many households end up paying more or less than their fair share, depending on where they live. This system is considered regressive. People in less expensive areas often pay a higher percentage of their home's value in tax than those living in wealthier neighborhoods with pricier homes. Then there's stamp duty, a one-off tax you pay when buying a property above a certain price. The amount is calculated in bands, so the more expensive the property, the more you pay. For many buyers, this can add thousands of pounds to the cost of moving, making it a major financial hurdle. As a result, stamp duty often discourages people from moving, especially older homeowners who might want to downsize but are put off by the extra cost. Last year alone, stamp duty brought in £11.6 billion for the government. However, critics argue that it slows down the housing market and makes it harder for people to move up or down the property ladder. Both council tax and stamp duty are widely seen as outdated, unfair, and in need of serious reform by people across the country. That's why the government is now considering major changes to the way these taxes work. So what exactly is being proposed? Let's take a look at the new ideas on the table. The big idea? Scrap council tax and stamp duty and merge them into a single annual property tax. This new tax would be a percentage of your home's current market value, not a decades-old estimate. Stamp duty would be abolished for most, only applying to high-value sales, likely above £500,000. The annual property tax would be re-evaluated regularly to reflect real market values. To avoid shocking current homeowners, the new system might only apply to new buyers, with existing owners staying on the old system. This phased approach would take decades but soften the impact. The goal, a fairer, more transparent system that funds local services. Here's how the new property tax could be calculated and what it might mean for homeowners across the UK. The system is tiered, much like income tax. This means you pay a higher rate on the higher portions of your home's value, rather than a flat rate on the entire amount. The idea is to make the tax more closely reflect what people can afford. For example, you might pay 0.44% on the value between £80,000 and £500,000, and then 0.54% on the portion above £500,000. For the most expensive homes, anything above £1 million would be taxed at 0.81%. This means the more valuable your property, the more you'll pay on those higher bands. Take a typical £300,000 home. Under this system, the annual bill would be about £968, likely less than what many pay in council tax today, especially in lower value regions. For a £650,000 home, the yearly tax would be around £2,658. That's a noticeable increase for some, but still competitive with current council tax rates in pricier areas. But for a £1.5 million home, the annual bill could reach £8,598, a dramatic jump, especially for owners of high-value properties in London and the South East. The system is designed to be progressive. The more your home is worth, the more you pay, ensuring that wealthier homeowners contribute a fairer share. Regular revaluations would keep the tax in line with changing property prices, so bills reflect the real market value, not outdated estimates. This approach shifts more of the tax burden onto wealthier homeowners, while offering relief to those in less expensive properties. The aim is to make property tax fairer, more transparent, and more predictable for everyone, regardless of where they live. However, the impact will vary widely depending on your region and your home's value. Some will see savings, while others may face higher bills. Next, let's look at who stands to benefit from these changes, and who might end up paying more under the new system. The biggest winners? Buyers and homeowners in cheaper regions, especially the North, Midlands, and Wales. Abolishing stamp duty on most homes makes moving far more affordable. Many in lower value areas could see their annual property tax drop by over £1,000 compared to current council tax. First-time buyers and younger people would find it easier to get on the property ladder with lower upfront costs and fairer annual taxes. The housing market could become more dynamic, with fewer barriers to moving. Older homeowners could downsize without facing huge tax bills, freeing up family homes for younger buyers. Overall, the reform aims to make the system fairer and boost mobility. But not everyone will benefit. The main losers? Owners of high-value homes, especially in London and the South East. Someone in a £2 million home could see their annual bill jump from £3,000 to over £12,000. This hits the asset-rich, cash-poor, long-term owners whose homes have soared in value but who have modest incomes. The phased approach, applying the new tax only to new buyers, aims to protect these groups. Owners of expensive homes in other affluent areas would also pay more. Second homeowners and buy-to-let investors would face higher annual taxes, making property investment less attractive. The reform targets property wealth, especially in multiple or high-value homes. It's a big shift in who pays and how much. So what's next for property tax reform in the UK? These are still proposals, not law. There's a long way to go. The autumn budget is the key moment. Watch for major announcements and public consultations. Replacing stamp duty could happen quickly for some buyers, but a full switch to the new property tax would take years. Expect fierce debate and passionate arguments. Some will fight to protect current homeowners and their interests. Others will push for fairness and more help for first-time buyers. The current system is outdated, change is coming, whether we're ready or not, but the details are still being worked out. Stay tuned for updates and expert analysis. This is a story that will affect millions of people across the country. We'll keep you posted as it all unfolds in the months ahead.